We welcome back a familiar track in Sochi Autodrom as we advance in the next round of the fantasy season. Welcome to the Formula 1 VTB Bank Russian Grand Prix here in Sochi, Russia. The last time we raced here was in 2021, so it is always a great sight to see this track return to the calendar. 53 laps will be held throughout this whole race. 3 sectors make up 2 DRS zones with 2 detection zones as well included. We have 18 turns and an elevation of 41.1 meters. And we will also see how the drivers will handle a pretty long lap around here in the Sochi Autodrom. Here are your tire compounds for today. The C5, the C4, and the C3, the softest in the Pirelli range, will be used for today's race, with the soft being the C5 and the hard being the C3. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to present the starting grid for today's race. And starting from the back row, we have Alex Albon and Yuki Tsunoda. Next up, we have Nick DeVries, P18, Guan Yu Zhou, P17 on the grid. We have Daniel Ricciardo, who didn't put a really great qualifying. Will start 16th alongside Kevin Magnussen in 15th. Fernando Alonso and Lando Norris will make up the next 2 positions, P14 and P13. P12 will go to Esteban Ocon, and P11 will go to Sebastian Vettel, who barely missed out on the top 10, which will include Mick Schumacher and Lance Stroll, P10 and P9 respectively. Max Verstappen will start P8 after having a couple of bad performances with Valtteri Bottas in P7. George Russell will start P6 alongside his teammate Lewis Hamilton, and P5 the winner last time out. P4 Carlos Sainz alongside his teammate as well. P3 will go to Charles Leclerc. And on the front row, we have Sergio Perez on the pole, followed by Pierre Gasly. It's the return of the Russian Grand Prix in the fantasy season. Will the drivers get off the line as the lights are about to go out? Now, and it's a great start from the Red Bull of Sergio Perez, who goes around the outside of Pierre Gasly as they go into turn number 1, a corner which comes very soon on this track. As we see, Charles Leclerc is trying to get a move up the inside of Pierre Gasly down into turn number 2. Will he make the move stick? And Pierre Gasly just sticks for P2 on the grid as the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc couldn't find the grip to overtake Pierre Gasly round the inside. And now we head up to the following corners of series. And as we see, Charles Leclerc is still trying to battle his way around Pierre Gasly, and that is how we're going to start today's race. And as we see on the onboard of Pierre Gasly, who started on the hard compound tire, actually get a better start than Sergio Perez in the Red Bull. However, the get off the line is stronger for that Red Bull as it has much more straight line speed than the AlphaTauri. And Pierre Gasly does a really good job in maintaining the position into turn number 2 as he was challenged by the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. And now we move on to the onboard of Max Verstappen. He is trying to find some positions here as he's starting 8th on the grid, but the Dutch driver passes with breeze as he tries to go around the outside in the long left-hander. He passes the Alfa Romeo and makes the move stick down the inside as he now has his sights on the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton. A great rivalry between these two has been formed in the past, and once again, their rivalry is renewed as he gets right down the inside. Lewis Hamilton will try to stick around the outside and tries to battle Max Verstappen very hard. However, Max Verstappen will have the next corner with ease and will pass. We have an interesting battle forming as Mick Schumacher is trying to get around Lance Stroll and the Aston Martin as they go down the detection zone right here. Down the DRS straight goes Mick Schumacher, opens the DRS, and we'll see if he can get the move stick. Will he do it into the next corner? It's a popular overtaking spot by many drivers as he goes down the outside of Lance Stroll and makes the move stick on him as Mick Schumacher moves up another position. Wonderful use of the straight line speed by the Haas, overtaking the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll. Now we look at a replay of the pass that Mick Schumacher did on Lance Stroll as we see the DRS is way too much for the Aston Martin driver to handle, and Mick Schumacher with ease will swoop around the outside, almost going over track limits, and he will successfully move that Haas up a few positions. 2 great drivers are now battling down the DRS straight. As we see now, it looks like Sebastian Vettel is under threat against Fernando Alonso in the Alpine. Surely the first straight line speed of the Alpine is way superior to the Aston Martin, and he shows that by swooping him round the inside, and now goes into the next corner with ease as he passes Sebastian Vettel for P13. And as we see now, it seems like Esteban Ocon is sizing up a move on Lance Stroll. He passes him with ease and is up to P11 on the grid. And as we see now, that's the Alpine of Esteban Ocon once again. From the broadcast angle, he passes Lance Stroll and is up closer to the points. Max Verstappen, who is now in P6, is hunting down George Russell for P5 right now, lap 14 of the race. And he is making a great comeback, Max Verstappen, as he tries to go down the inside of George Russell, but couldn't succeed in that extent. He'll do it once more into the following corner. He will not get there, but the battle will continue on for the next series of corners as Lewis Hamilton is now pressuring, and down in the inside goes Max Verstappen, but George Russell is still fighting him back down to the outside, and Max Verstappen finally completes the pass on George Russell. Battle for P13 is spicing up as Daniel Ricciardo is trying to look a move on Lance Stroll and completes the move. What a great pass by Daniel Ricciardo, moving his McLaren closer to the points, and is now P13. And as we see, we take a look at the replay of Daniel Ricciardo's onboard. We see that he's sizing up a move with the DRS open against Lance Stroll and completes the move round the outside. And what a great pass by the Aussie driver for another position on today's Grand Prix. Now we're looking into the onboard of Max Verstappen in the helmet cam as he's sizing a move up the around the outside. Goes Max Verstappen on Charles Leclerc. Another move by the Dutch driver promotes him to P4 in the race, and he's getting ever closer to a podium finish. Now we look at another angle of the move that Max Verstappen did for P4, and as we see, the outside has been working efficiently today. It just seems like that outside has more grip as well, and into the following corner, Max Verstappen gains the advantage, gets to the apex first, and is able to complete the pass with ease. Pierre Gasly is losing yet another position. What is going on?
I can't drive like this, engine problem.
We see an issue? We see the problem?
It is more bad news for Pierre Gasly as there seems to be an engine problem with the AlphaTauri. It's such a shame as he started on the front row for today's race and is losing positions very quickly.
God, what the? Yeah, what is this?
As we hear a very mad Pierre Gasly as he now has lost 2 more positions and is down to P6. Pierre Gasly has just been dropping like flies today here in the Grand Prix as we see his engine has not been the best today, as we see people are just piling on top of him, basically forming a DRS train in a sense, and is just being passed by everybody behind him. Down the DRS straight, it does not help. He has bad issues with his engine, in which is causing him to drop more positions. As we see, he loses about 2 to 3 positions in one sector, which is not very good for the French driver as he's trying to keep his points position finish. We'll see if he completes that, but at the moment it seems like he's going to be dropping even further down the grid with his engine issue, as we see the Mercedes looking around the outside but couldn't make the pass. Max Verstappen is now looking around the outside and once more in his favorite overtaking spot on Carlos Sainz as he complains that the Red Bull is too quick for him and completes the pass Max Verstappen, making it a 1-2 for Red Bull, as we'll see how close he can close that gap, a 17-second gap by the Dutch driver. Now as we take a look at the rear wing of Carlos Sainz, we see that Max Verstappen getting into the slipstream and pulling right out as he goes down the inside of Carlos Sainz, getting to the apex first, and that Red Bull is too quick, as Carlos Sainz has noted earlier on. Now we look at Lando Norris, who is moving up a move for P9 and passes Mick Schumacher on the DRS straight and gets to the corner first and goes a bit wide. We'll see if the stewards will note that as a track limit violation, but Max Verstappen sets the fastest lap. we take a look at the replay on Lando Norris's pass, we see that Mick Schumacher was struggling for pace and could not hold back the charging McLaren and will move down a position. Mick Schumacher almost out of the points position, finishes to P10. And as we see, it looks like Kevin Magnussen is defending a position against Guan Yu Zhou for P14. Let's see what Guan Yu Zhou can do. Round the outside into the following corner. He gets there, almost goes over the track limits, and he makes the move stick. Round the outside for Zhou Guan Yu, who moves up another position. And as you look at the onboard with the DRS open, Zhou Guan Yu, who tries to go around the outside of Kevin Magnussen. And there seems to be a 5-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. As we noted, he went over the track limits, and it seems like he's used up all his warnings, so that's a 5-second time penalty. Then we see now, going into the final series of corners in the Russian Grand Prix, it's going to be Sergio Perez who will win today's Russian Grand Prix, making it a 1-2 for Red Bull, and Carlos Sainz finishing out the podium in P3. Not a great day for Ferrari as they couldn't handle Red Bull.
Guys! This is us! Come on! Vamos! Well done, guys!
Oh yeah. What a day it's been, as the Russian Grand Prix has now come to a close with Sergio Perez winning the race. As we take a look at the race results, we see it's a 1-2 finish for Red Bull, with Carlos Sainz finishing at the podium, and P3. Ferrari could not match the pace of the Red Bull for today, as they were too strong on the straight line speed. As we see now the rest of the grid, we have Charles Leclerc, who finishes in P4, P5 for George Russell, P6 for Pierre Gasly with an engine issue. He could not hold on to a top 5 finish. P7 Lando Norris, 8 for Hamilton, 9th Esteban Ocon, and 10th for Mick Schumacher. As we see the rest of the grid, P11 for Fernando Alonso, P12 for Daniel Ricciardo, 13th for Zhou Guan Yu, 14th for Kevin Magnussen, 15th Valtteri Bottas, 16th Lance Stroll, 17th Nick DeVries, 18th Alexander Albon, 19th Sebastian Vettel, and P20 will round out the finish for Yuki Tsunoda. And as we take a look at the Drivers' Championship, it's Charles Leclerc still with a 1-point lead over Carlos Sainz. Sergio Perez is also creeping up with 69 points. Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris, the two Brits on the grid as well, are P4 and P5 with 60 and 57 points. We also have George Russell down in P10 with 29 points. Max Verstappen coming back to P6 with 44 points. Pierre Gasly 7th, 8th Fernando Alonso, and 9th Daniel Ricciardo in the Drivers' Championship. And we see that Ferrari still maintains an advantage over Red Bull, 170 to 143. Mercedes in P3 right now with 89 points. Best of the rest, McLaren in P4 with 86 points, followed by Alpine in P5 with 53 points. 6th goes AlphaTauri, 7th Haas, 8th Alfa Romeo, 9th Aston Martin, and 10th Williams, finishing with only 8 points. We hope you enjoyed today's video. We will be back for another round in Lusail, Qatar, as we go to the Qatar Grand Prix. Subscribe for more races.